Welcome back, guys. In this video, we are going to look into the for loop, which is more like used for the counting, or if we want to execute some routine for number of times, then we normally use the for loop. But all loops are used interchangeably. Like you can use while for counting as well, but it's more like the loop has been given for one particular purpose. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just show you how you can actually write the loop as well as the function, because if you remember in the last video we discussed there are three major parts which are very critical from the scripting perspective. One is obviously conditional statements that control the sequence of your script. The second one is the looping, which iterate multiple time or n number of time, depends upon the condition that you have specified. And last but not the least is the function which modularize your script, so you can control the functionality in a very nice way. Instead of having thousands and line of code or script into one file, it's not gonna be very handy to manage, even if you are sharing with the teams, which are now quite common, because the all the implementation we normally do, we work in the team environment. So these modularized components are very helpful because they break down the functionality into small components, and we can use these components to build the capability. So in this video, we're gonna see the loop as well as the function. So let's start. What I have done, I just created a small one for the understanding perspective. So you can see you can declare a function by using the function command, and then obviously the syntax is pretty same, like from the small medium curly braces, medium bracket or curly braces, you can start and end the block of the function, and inside you can declare all your routine, right? So which is the syntax of defining the function. Obviously, after the function command, we need to specify the function name, and then we can provide the functionality, what this function is going to do. Now with the for loop, you can see the syntax is very similar to C or C++. The only difference is obviously it has more than one small bracket, and then we have the starting variable, the terminating condition or the condition for which it's going to execute, and obviously the increment value which we are going to like. So for example, this is a simple counter loop which is going to run from 0 all the way to 10, and at each iteration it's going to increment the value of I by 1 until it reached to equal to smaller than or equal to 10. As soon as it reaches to 11, the loop will terminate, because that condition, the middle condition, will be false. Now, what we are doing in the loop, obviously, there is one more thing. For loop, the syntax is the same, similar from the block perspective. Like you are going to actually specify do, which mention the block of the loop is starting. So you can specify all the statement within after the do statement, and whenever you finish, you're going to actually close the loop by specifying done command. All right, so what I'm doing, because I just keep it simple, so I'm just using printf, and I'm specifying that, okay, I'm going to print an integer value, and then I'm transferring my cursor to the next line, right? And what I'm providing, I'm just printing the value of my variable I. So very simple counting loop, which is going to display the value from 0 to 10. Let me just change to 20, so we'll see how it goes. And then once you need to call the function, all you need to do, mention the function name. That's it, and then it will execute that function, right? So very simple script. What it is gonna do? It's gonna define a function. Then we have defined the body of the function using the for loop, and then we are calling the function. So let's try and see whether it works or not. So I'm just going to run it. Awesome. So you can see we have printed from 0 to 20. So that's how you can design your function as well as the for loop. So now take a little step further, and how about if we are going to create more than one function, right? So what I'm going to do, let me see. Okay. In this one, you can see my first function is the similar as the previous file. But what I have done, I have actually created two more functions. So now you can see how I'm actually modularizing my functionality into multiple blocks. So my second function is obviously the sequence loop. And what it's gonna do, I'm just going to, so you can see we can pass the sequence value, and then we can iterate on the on the sequence. And what this sequence is doing, it is starting with 2.1 and it's going to add 0.3 at each iteration, and it will reach till 3.2, right? And all I'm doing, I'm just actually displaying the value on each iteration. Before I come to the in loop, let me just show you the main body. So you can see I have the last function, which is the list item. Let me change the name of this function. Let me see, executing and that. So it's going to execute, right? So executing handler is going to execute my all my function, and how it's going to identify which function it needs to execute. I'm going to provide the value from the command prompt. So for example, if I'm going to provide, let's say, sequence, so that means I'm executing the sequence loop. If I'm providing the counting loop, that means, sorry, if I'm providing counting, so it's going to actually execute the counting loop. So let me first define the execute handler. What execute handler is doing, it is just taking the arguments. And what are the arguments? Arguments are the one where the arguments are the parameters which we are passing to this function. So by using the arg clause, I can get all the arguments which are coming to my function, right? And now you can see I'm just doing, because it might be like more than one argument, so I can use those argument. And I'm going to show you later on that how we can execute more than one loop at the same time, right? But just to keep things simple, let me just execute one function at a time. So you can see I'm just looping with for the argument. Arg is a keyword, and it will record the number of arguments which are coming to a function, right? So now the very first thing I'm going to see what value argument has. If it is equal to counting, then obviously execute the counting loop. If it is equal to sequence, then execute the sequence loop. And if it is equal to in loop, which we haven't discussed, then execute the in loop function, right? So there are three type of loop which we are actually discussing in this demo. So that's pretty much it, the file. What I'm going to now show you, I'm just going to run the first two function in this video. In the next video, we're going to actually look at the third loop, as well as if we will see that if you want to execute more than one loop at the same time. So let me just save this file. Yeah, and so I'm just going to now simple command, and because this file is expecting the argument, so I'm going to provide the command line argument, which is counting, so that you can see argument to function is counting, so it has executed counting for loop. Now the second one is going to be sequence. So you can see we have 2.1, 2.4, 2.7. Every time it is adding 0.3 all the way, it has reached to 3.0. So that's how, let me just go back to my answer. So now you can see we have multiple function, and each function has a different set of capabilities, and I can actually handle these function to my main handler. which is a very common pattern that we normally use into our programming or the software engineering world, right? So hopefully you will understand these concepts, especially from the modularization as well as from the counting perspective, right? Because for loop is very famous from the counting perspective, that if you want to execute something for a number of time, and obviously we have seen some new thing which is sequencing, that if you want to follow a sequence, which is again another type of counting, but obviously it's a bit different than a typical counter loop, right? So if you have any questions, please feel free to put in comments. More than happy to answer. Hopefully you like the video, and stay tuned for the last loop that we are going to discuss in the next video. Thanks for watching.